Craig Brain is not your brain or my brain. Love it or hate it or something in between. Welcome to the squishy alien middle inside of this dude's skull. Take a peek. Take a peek.
Welcome to Craig Brains, Craig Gross. Last week I got a little fired up talking about school. This week I'm going to talk about talent shows and what I've learned from watching my kids at talent shows over the year. Most of those talent shows were part of the school system. And I've been challenged by a lot of the talent shows because let's just be honest. If you've been to one of your kids' talent shows, we can really call them the not so talented talent shows. And sometimes they're a struggle and they go on way too long and you're sitting there going, why am I watching a father play catch with his son on a stage and they throw the ball at each other? Nolan's laughing at that. And Nolan, you remember that talent show? That was me and Nolan. We just played a game of catch. But I was like, why? I paid money to go to this talent show. I think, what were you in, like fourth grade? Like a fourth grader. I'm not saying you're Oral Hershiser at or Frank Thomas at fourth grade, but the fact that you're just throwing a ball with your father at fourth grade, like I'm not expecting you to put a sword down your throat or fire, but like juggle, or something. It was a talent show. It wasn't just. It was like a long game of catch, and you're like, oh gosh. So the joy of the school system, and this isn't just about, maybe it's a recital, or maybe it's, you've been to talent shows, you've seen them. And I think for me, I talked about this in my daughter's dance world. She does competitions. And so as she's gotten older, especially like this year, she's just finished 8th grade in our homeschool program now, which means she's 1 year away from graduating if she wants to follow in her brother's footsteps. But she has told me she wants to stay in school longer, so we will see. But what I've seen she's been dancing for quite some time. And as a younger kid, these dance shows were cute and the recitals were cute, but they were a lot of they were what you would call like a talent show. And this past year in 8th grade, she was in one dance with almost all high schoolers. She was one of the youngest girls in the team, and they competed at the highest level for this certain dance. And I didn't understand even the dance world that much, but there's a 3-day dance competition, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we go Friday and Saturday, and then, sometimes you have a dance or so on Sunday. And so this one dance was on Sunday night, and this was in Anaheim. It was the first, this is kind of where this thought kind of hit me, where the dance world is kind of funny, where you get a trophy. It's kind of like AYSO soccer. My son, I coached AYSO for my son and for my daughter, and then my son for a season played club, which had paid coaches. AYSO just has volunteers. So I'm volunteered. I had to get certified. The refs are volunteer. Everybody's a volunteer. And then the AYSO philosophy is everybody plays. And it's also a philosophy that it's not about winning. But if you're into sports, it's always about winning. And the whole everyone plays mentality is the same mentality that these dance competitions have at a younger age, where everyone gets a trophy. It's actually so bad in the dance world that if you're in 10th place, let me see if even Nolan knows the answer to this. Nolan, what would 10th place be called at a dance competition?
Platinum.
10th first place. It would
just be called platinum.
Well,
you're what is platinum?
Yeah, what is platinum? So yeah, you're platinum, but then they're in the 10th first place winner. Then they go the 9th first place winner. I'm like, no, that's 9th place. 10th place isn't the 10th. And then our overall champion, it was just okay, I get it. Everyone gets a trophy. And that's good for some people. For me, just like my opinions are pretty strong on school, I'm very competitive. I like to win. So I've played the game at AYSO. Everyone plays. And I would say granted, like we've had some good teams. I mean, we've outperformed a lot of teams, not because of our players just on the field. Part of the AYSO game as a coach to play is if I have to play everyone equally, which there's 4 quarters in soccer. And what that means is like, okay, Nolan has to play 3 quarters. Like if you have 12 people on the roster and you have, or not 12, you have 15 people on the roster and you have 12, like somebody's got to sit. So now if I have enough subs, pretty much everyone's only playing, say, 3 quarters. But I can't play the kid that can't kick a ball and his mom just forces him to go to this before his piano class. I got to play that kid as much as I got to play like my son. And so you got to be strategic in not playing all your really bad kids at the same quarter and then not playing them at the key times and making sure like, gosh, if I have one kid, there's normally like one kid that you can play the whole game. I'm going to play the best kid or the kid that I know can withstand the whole game. So I would say, and it's not to just brag, but like, yeah, I won a lot of soccer games. And a lot of that with kids early on in age comes down to coach and coaching and how to substitute, how to do that because they're in a system. Now, when Nolan moved to club soccer, you suck, you don't play. You suck, you don't be on the team next year. Now, that's what pissed me off about his club soccer team. He didn't join like the top club soccer team that was called like LA Premier. He was at this place called Crown City and great people, great. I don't think the coach like understood winning. It was like, you're a great AYSO coach, but like we would get there and it's like, why is this kid starting? Why are you on the bench? It's like, does he not want to win? Like you don't have rules like that. And so if you don't earn your spot, you shouldn't, like, I don't care you went to practice. I don't even care if you didn't go to practice. If you're my best player and you're fit to go on Sunday or Saturday, I'm playing you. And so I think it's this whole idea where I get both worlds. And so what I learned going back to this dance thing on Sunday night was when I saw Elise show up on a Sunday night with all these older girls that didn't care even about the award. They didn't care about the trophy. They didn't care as much about first place as like, the 8-year-old that was performing on Friday. They were about the performance. And this performance they did on this dance, it was just ridiculous. I was kind of mad because it didn't win. But it was like watching them, I was like, I get it. And then it hit me that I was like, Elise never would have been able to perform if she hadn't been able to do a talent show. And there's some people, like that's what I love about American Idol or America's Got Talent. Like you're 60 years old and you really don't have talent, but you want to show up and you want to try and sing. There's a karaoke place across from our house. And on Thursday nights, they do karaoke. And some people, it's like they live for Thursday night at the barbecue. It's a barbecue restaurant. Kevin Karaoke comes out and they bring their CDs. And it's like I'm singing 4 or 5 times. And you're not going to get a record deal out of that. No one's going to notice you. But you're like, I just love that. Even if I'm not that good at it. I was watching people. I'm like, hats off to you that you're actually getting up on a stage and doing that. But then there's the other side of me that watches the 4th grader throwing a ball with his dad. And I was like, but that's not really talent. So where's that balance? And I think to me, it was just that thought of you probably don't know if you're maybe a performer or you don't know if you have it until you test some of that stuff out on a stage. And as kids, or it's probably a lot easier for us to sign up and just say, yeah, I'll go try that. And I'll see how people respond. I know some super talented people that are almost 40. One dude that I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's this rapper Logic that I'm like, I mean, if you haven't listened to Logic, like he's a pretty profound rapper, but there's this friend that I know that I was like, and my other friend's like, dude, you could do that. Like you're better than Logic. Like and yet he doesn't maybe believe it yet or want to actually put himself out there. when you're like, oh, I'm 9 or I'm 10 and mom pushes me out on that stage. And if you can blow that crowd away, you can move from, say, that talent show into, man, I really kind of found that niche. I really found what I'm good at. And so as a competitive person, though, that's where for years sitting in those talent shows, I never really got it. And I guess when I saw my daughter dance on a performance level with some older girls, that I was like, oh, I'm glad she's had the opportunity to do this. And then for me, like, some of this stuff's not about winning. Maybe your daughter or your kid just loves, performing, and it's not about being the best. It's about like the confidence to get on stage, the confidence to pull something off. Man, there's a lot that goes into that. I go back and I'll just close with this. On a karaoke night, we went, my son, Levi, Brandy, and me on a Thursday night. It's on my Instagram because it's awesome. Instagram handles Craig Gross, and you got to scroll through all the highlights. But I think it's just called Karaoke. And we went on a Thursday night, and it was one of those things of like, I've never stood up and sang. Like, nobody that knows me would ever say that, oh, I've heard my dad like sing. Like, ever. I am not good at it. I do, but I love music. Like, I'm probably a bigger music fan than most people you know. But like, I just doesn't translate to me singing. And I think part of that is because the 3 in me and the achiever and just all that kind of stuff. It's like, I know I'm not that good at it. So I choose to really do things that I know I'm really good at. And I choose to stay away from things that I'm really not good at. So when it got to karaoke, it was like, we should all do this. And the thought would be like, yeah, that would be fun for you all to do it, but not for me to do it. And then I did it. And I did Welcome to the Jungle, which is like 5 minutes long. It's one of my favorite. I mean, that Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction album, like, sorry, Tom Ramsey, if you're watching. Tom took my rock music tapes as a kid. I still love Tom. I disagree with Tom on his thoughts about rock music, and that's okay. We can still be friends, but he took my Van Halen tape from me as a kid. He didn't take Guns N' Roses, thank God. And yes, there's filthy parts of Appetite for Destruction, but as like an album, like especially us Christian kids, and me and Darren on the way to like, oh man, that album. So as a 42-year-old adult, I hear Welcome to the Jungle, let's go. I've never sang it live. I've never sang it out loud. I mean, that part, yeah, that's hard to do. It's the longest 5 minutes of my life, and it might be the worst thing you'll ever see. And I got off the stage, and I was like, if I'm going to do this, it's not going to be middle, just, that was okay, or that kind of sucked. Like, like, Nolan, how bad did it suck?
It was pretty fun.
Oh, he said it was pretty funny, but I mean, Nolan's up there doing, like, when they call me Big Papa. He's like, just do this B.I.G. song. I was like, when have you heard B.I.G.? He died before you were even born, right?
He's a legend.
He's a legend. Well, I did the Legend of Axl Rose, and I guess when I walked away, yeah, we all walked away with a laugh or 2 or 3, but it was more of like, I should do more things that I'm not good at in front of people, because there's a lot to learn from that. Because if you only do stuff that you know you can win, like we were playing at this mastermind event I was at a couple of days ago. I love ping pong. We have a table at our old house that I got for Father's Day. I grew up playing tennis. I can see photos if you want to see those with my bandana and spandex. But man, ping pong, I just love. And these 2 guys would not separate doubles partners in our mastermind group, and they won the whole night. And it's pissed me off. I couldn't find a partner in the room that could beat them, and they wouldn't play singles. And it was just like, oh, we won, we're the champs. And it's like, yeah, dude, try playing with a different partner. Try even switching sides, and then your game went, in the crapper. And so it's just like, if you're just kind of one-dimensional. So I think for me, going back to my love-hate for talent shows, I think there's a need. I think as adults, it'd be fun to be in a talent show and just, have to do something and see kind of where that lands. Or there's a lot of people out there that I know, and that's the beauty of, gosh, what's that old lady from America's Got Talent years ago, the opera singer, that just like blew your mind. You're like, you're that old and you've never done this. Like nobody saw that gift in you yet. And that's where I'm like, there's a lot of hidden gems out there that you're like, wait, you can do that? I mean, nobody's saying that to me about my singing, and that's okay. But maybe it'll be the next thing that I try that I go, oh man, I didn't ever think I could have done that. And that's the joy of watching a kid up there do whatever they do, whether that's dancing. Well, I'm still not convinced to throwing the ball. But man, if he just would have just spun around and done something and then caught the ball, I'd give him that. But just doing something and putting yourself out there. So find a stage, find a place to show off what it is that you think might be your talent, and have some fun. And I'll see you at the karaoke bar tonight.
Thanks for thinking through Craig Brain. This podcast is only a small summarized part of a larger conversation. To read the full story, check out www.craigbrain.com and follow @Craig Gross on whatever social suits your fancy.